Good morning everybody, welcome back to cilinixfxcapital, or welcome to the channel if you're new, and welcome to this new video here on Ethereum. We're going to do a full update. We'll talk a little bit about some fundamentals and some Ethereum news that we got in yesterday, which I think is relevant. I think it's not only interesting for most of us to know, but also relevant for price action and potential here, because ultimately, I mean, the situation technically for Ethereum is still very similar to what we had 2 days ago. We're still in that consolidation range, a very tight consolidation, and if you zoom out here, like this is a pretty good zone to consolidate in. As you can see, it's a high volume node. It's the second biggest high volume area, just after this level right here, around 1600. Which obviously back then we had a lot of volume coming in as well. So now the main question is still, well, can we rally up to that next balance right here? That next general area towards 1950, where my main price target would also be towards 2000, so 1980 approximately. So can we get there? That would mean that we would have to, if we zoom in here, which we will do a little bit more often in this video as well. We'll zoom in and we'll zoom out. But that would mean we would need to have a sustained breakout here above 1825. You can see, arguably, we have broken above the value area high. So at this point of time, the price action for Ethereum is actually quite crucial as well. But like I said, we'll talk about that a bit later. So we need to do that, and we also need to hold this support level right here at 1750. Break down below that, and we're going to fill this huge imbalance we have to the downside, at least into 1660, but most likely into 1640. And if we drop down into that, it's also quite likely we're going to drop down into this entire balance area, right? So those are the different scenarios here. And that is all going to depend on this very narrow consolidation, this very narrow range we have for Ethereum, and which side will break out of. And that's a difficult question. All right. Now, yesterday, like I said, we had some some relevant fundamentals, I think, in the sense that the Ethereum Foundation posted a thread about the development of Ethereum for 2025. And it seems like, or at least even though, of course, the sentiment around Ethereum in the last year has been extremely negative, I saw some positive reactions to this. I like some of the things that they've said. I'm not the biggest fan of the Ethereum Foundation. I think, well, all right, so let's not get too much into depth about that. But just in general, their objectives, and I think their objectives are in the right place. I think those are the right things to focus on. I'm just not certain whether they'll actually be able to deliver on this, given the current structure they have. But this does seem to bring a little bit more positive sentiment to Ethereum, and that's also reflected, I think, in the order flow, because you can see right here, since yesterday, we actually did gain quite a bit of open interest here, and that in combination with the volume in general is quite low, the spot volume that is, because open interest is obviously leveraged momentum coming in, so that's always a bit of a blessing and a curse. Volume is up 46%, so that's decent, but yesterday morning the volume was also still quite low after the weekend, so that's not that doesn't tell you the full story. But then we've also broken out here, so I think we have a decent chance to rally up to that level at 1890. And at this point of time, given what we're seeing right here from the price action in combination with the fundamentals and in combination with what I see from Bitcoin, I would argue that it is most likely we're going to get that breakout. However, I'm not fully convinced that the breakout we have right here, which technically is a breakout, I'm not convinced yet that is it. All right, I think we need to get a little bit more sustained price action, and even though I do think this is most likely for now, main target conservatively being 1890, but after that, like I said, we're aiming for that 2000 area. I think this is most likely, but I'm not certain enough about it to trade it. All right, so keep that in mind. Could also be that we have to retest back into this range a little bit longer, and you should also be aware that if we get any negative headlines or something like that, this is not going to happen, right? I mean, Ethereum is still very reliant on the general financial markets as well. But those are my thoughts. I think that's what you need to know. So thank you for watching. Take care and bye.